Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 16 of Build a Store in 21 Days. My name is Alaa Hassan. Hope you guys are doing well. We'll wait for people to join in. I do see Katrina. Good to see you again. Let me know in the comments if all is well. You hear me well, see me, my screen. By the time I set myself up here on this side, beautiful day today. Well, not that much sun, but nonetheless, at least it's not yellowish in my office right now. It's more daylight, so that's a nice thing. Hey, Ayan, nice to see you. Join in. Excellent. I'm seeing people pop in right now. Ali, always the same people. Excellent. Love it. Love it. How are you guys doing? How's your Saturday so far? Good breakfast. It's a little bit different. Obviously, I actually like the afternoon sessions on the weekends more than. It's great to have them both. In the evenings, during the weekdays because of work, during the day, so it makes sense. But on the weekends, I feel like the 2 o'clock makes sense. Excellent, great. Everything sounds great. Thank you, Katrina. What's up, Ali? Excellent. So I'm just making sure that everything is set up. Let me move this monkey down. Perfect. All right, so I'm not going to wait a long time to get started because I really want to make sure I get you guys out of here as soon as possible and cover some of the main topics that we need to speak about, provide you some tools, and we'll take it from there. Hey, Ali. Yeah, doing good. I'm doing well. You know what? Can't complain. It's day 16, so I'm very excited about how we're progressing. One thing too is last night I was thinking about how to make the prizes, the contest for the challenge a little bit more interesting. I'm trying to find ways, because I know that sometimes people might feel a little bit overwhelmed to do everything in 21 days. Maybe for me, it's easy because I've done it so many times. So I really wanted to change maybe the approach of the contest for the challenge. So I'll be announcing something. We'll see. Excellent. So let's get started. Hey, Felicitas, Simo, nice to see you guys. Thank you for joining. Let's get started immediately and talk about today's topic, which is all about setting up payments and taxes for your online store. It's a very, very important subject that you cannot skip on, and you need to make sure it's been taken care of and you are totally confident that you've set things up, especially when it comes to taxes. We're going to start with payments. Obviously, at the end of the day, you can have the best looking store, the best looking brand, the best products, the best prices, all of that stuff. You go all out in terms of building your online store, and you feel that, you know what, you're going to kill it out there. You cannot succeed if you do not have any payment methods that you accept. You can't succeed if you don't have any payment methods set up within your online store. Now, obviously, certain countries may not be as welcoming as, let's say, North America or Europe or Australia when it comes to credit cards. Certain countries, consumers are still used to, let's say, cash on delivery or money order. Again, all these options are available inside Shopify, so it makes your job a lot easier. But when it comes to payment, what should you think about? So a couple of things. First of all, you need to accept all major credit cards. We're talking about Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Those are the most popular ones. I'm talking mainly North America, even worldwide. Now, there are certain credit cards that are available, let's say, just mainly in the US. I think Discover is only US. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But there are certain credit cards that work in China or Asia that may work here or not. Again, there's all these possibilities. The focus on your side should be on those three. Visa, MasterCard, at least. American Express, you can have that as well. Now, the second payment method that I highly recommend, and I did the same thing for my dad's online store. When I helped him launch the store, I set him up only with the major credit cards. I told him about PayPal, and he's like, oh, I don't want to bother with another payment method. And I said, Dad, you need to accept PayPal. PayPal is a very well-known payment method that's been used for years, decades right now. And PayPal's popularity came into place where it was one of the main payment methods that people used on eBay.com when the online auctions. So it gained a lot of traction. And for those that don't know, Elon Musk of Tesla was the one that built it and obviously sold it. And that's when he started Tesla and all the other ventures. So he made some good money on PayPal. So accepting PayPal is a great strategy as well to have, because a lot of people, those who are very used to shopping online, most people do have a PayPal account, and their credit card information, their banking information, their shipping info, all of this is already within PayPal. And it just saves them time when they shop from your store, because they don't have to enter all that information again. Everything is configured, and they feel a lot more secure because they don't have to put their credit card in your checkout. Again, some people prefer PayPal, others prefer using credit cards. So my recommendation is to have both of them. I've seen numbers where PayPal payments can reach 20-25% of your sales. So again, you can't ignore it. There are additional payment methods. So I'm just going to write them here. You do have, for example, Amazon payments. You have Google Pay or Apple Pay, you name it. What's great about Shopify, they integrate really easily with all sorts of payment methods. So you don't have to worry about that. For me, on my side, I always say do not overwhelm consumers. The last thing you want is when you check out, you start seeing 10 different payment methods and they're like, okay, where do I click? So my recommendation is to start small, limit yourself to, let's say, 2 payment methods, credit cards and PayPal. And then eventually, as you start selling online and you see, you know what, people are asking for Amazon payments or Apple Pay or whatever it might be, additional payment methods, then consider adding them. But again, don't overwhelm them when you start. And you can do well with simply the major credit cards and PayPal. What we're going to use inside Shopify is Shopify Payments. Shopify Payments is a great way to get started immediately. You put in a bunch of information about you, your business, and how you're set up, taxes and all that stuff. And eventually they accept you in the program. Obviously, there will be a review to make sure that everything is good. And then you can start accepting payments with ease. You don't have to spend either additional money. You only pay a percentage when sales come in. PayPal also is very easy to set up. We're going to go through the process right now. Again, they will ask you for a lot of personal information, including sometimes your social insurance number or your business information. It's normal. You're conducting online business. Nowadays, it's no longer what it used to be back in the day where you can just launch a business and then that's it, that's all. Now, these companies have a responsibility to make sure that you declare all of your income if it exceeds specific amounts so that you pay your share in terms of taxes and so on. That's with regards to payments. I'm not going to cover more than that. When it comes to taxes, I need you to pay attention to this because it's very, very important. You may not deal with tax issues in the beginning because your sales are limited, but as you start growing, as you start exceeding specific sales numbers, like let's say $30,000+, 50, 100, or sometimes you start shipping more than $100,000 to a specific state in the US. Even if you start from Canada to the US or you start shipping from the US to Canada, there's a lot of laws. Now, again, a disclaimer immediately, I'm not here to give you any advice on how you should go about setting up your taxes. This is your responsibility. All I'm going to do right now is give you links to specific pages that I recommend you read, and I'll show you how to set them up. How to set them up in terms of what percentages you need to charge for your business, for your personal situation, in terms of how much should you be collecting taxes from your customers. I will have to leave that to you because I highly recommend that you speak to an accountant. That's what I do as well. So whoever does your taxes right now, especially if you're thinking about going into e-commerce, I highly recommend you find yourself an accountant, local accountant that understands the online world. You don't want to use the old school accountants that are used to, pen and paper and just doing the calculations like that. You really need to get someone that gets the e-commerce world. You don't need to get an enterprise level accountant, but someone who gets it and can help you figure out ways to not only how to go about collecting taxes from a strategic perspective, but also how to declare some of your expenses so that it makes sense for your online business. So speak to an accountant, someone who is an expert in this domain, get advice from him or her. Then second thing I need to make sure that you put effort is doing your homework. Do not skip on this step. I've seen so many people, many businesses where they do not set up the proper tax configuration in their online store, or they think they've done it right. They don't even bother auditing some of the sales with their accountant after, let's say, a couple of months to make sure that everything is properly set up. And eventually down the line, when the business starts growing, guess what? You may get audited, and then you realize, oh, I owe more money, or I should have collected taxes on certain purchases and not others. I should have collected taxes on certain purchases made from a specific state differently from another state or a province, and so on and so forth. Again, do your homework, spend a good amount of time in making sure that all of this stuff is set up, and make sure you show the configuration, all that, to your accountant to ensure that all is good. And make it a habit of every couple of months to look over the sales and to make sure that everything is properly being reported. What's great about Shopify is they provide you all the reports that you need, the reporting that you need, the setup, the configurations, the exclusions, whatever might be the case in your situation, it's all available. You just simply need to make sure that you're fully leveraging them. And that's it for taxes. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that you need to consider. So if you go to if you have any questions, again, in the comments in this video, just put them in there and I'll get back to them. So inside the group, and I just posted it right now, set up payment and taxes unit, day 16. You'll notice there's a very funny monkey right here. So what you do in this case is click on the toolbox. I added a slide this morning for you guys to use to help you out. So if you scroll down in the toolbox, you'll notice in slide 34. 34, I've added a tax slide. So Shopify has a lot of help available. So I gave you kind of a link to the Shopify taxes, the main page that covers a lot of things here. General setup and tax reports, US taxes, Canadian taxes, non-US taxes. If you have a store, let's say, and you want to use the Shopify cash machine, the POS system, they also have the process there. Digital product taxes. So if you plan on selling digital products, not just downloadable, let's say courses or services, whatever might be the case, it's all there. How to override. There's a new thing called GST in India. And tax services with Avatax. Avalara is one of the leading authorities when it comes to e-commerce taxes. They automate the whole process. You will not use this right now. You will only use it when you reach a specific level in sales. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million plus, because Avalara only works with Shopify Plus, the enterprise level version of Shopify. So again, all of this is a great place to start, but don't worry, I'm going to show you where we go inside the store. I've also included the USA tax help. So if you need help with US taxes, all of this information is right here. It tells you exactly what to do, how to set things up. Again, I'm going to show you where to go, but you really need to follow the instructions that you get within Shopify and also speak to an expert. I've also included Canada because most of my users here in the group are either from Canada and the US, a big percentage of you guys. So Canada is also here and available with even links to the Canadian Revenue Agency so that you register your taxes and make sure that you can collect, The last thing I've also included is a guide for taxes by TaxJar. So TaxJar is another great authority when it comes to taxes. They started from what I remember back in the day, they were mainly focused around helping people deal with taxes when they sell things on Amazon. But since then, I believe they recently branched out to other channels, not just Amazon sales, but also Shopify. What I like about them has nothing to do with Shopify right now. What I recommend is for you to really look at this guide. It gives you a full idea, a full overview of how taxes work, how you determine things. The tax nexus in the US is critical. So just to give you a high level, when you start shipping selling a specific amount of dollars or number of transactions to one specific state, you may have to collect and remit taxes differently. So again, there's a lot of tax laws. You might have to pay taxes by county, by state. There's all these restrictions now. So again, that's why I highly recommend educate yourself with all the links I've provided you, but afterwards put an effort in making sure that you speak to a local accountant, an expert that can help you plan out the right tax strategy for your online store. So these are the links I provided you guys here that you could use. What I'm going to do right now is go inside the store. Before doing so, I'm just going to make sure there are no questions that I can easily answer. Hello. I see a lot of new people. Fahad, Mohammed Khalil, welcome back. And we have a new person, Medan Hojic. I think I spelled it right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Welcome. Excellent. So I don't see any questions, so we'll proceed. Now, so inside your store, let's start with the payment setup. All you need to do is, I can't do the whole setup myself right now because it's going to ask me for a lot of personal information. This is a demo store. I don't want to open up a new store. But if you go to settings within your dashboard right here, let me increase, zoom in. Inside the settings area, you'll click on payment providers. Guys, it's very, very easy, so don't worry about it. Inside payment providers, you'll notice a couple of things. You'll have the Shopify payments, which is what we're going to set up. PayPal setup right here. You have option of also setting up third-party providers. Some of us maybe already have an online store. We're thinking about shifting to Shopify. We may have, let's say, Moneris, other payment providers. You don't want to use Shopify payments because you've been with these companies for a very long time and you've already have some good credit. You may consider that. You also have an option of accepting other alternative third-party providers. And what I like also, you have the option of accepting some manual payments. For example, bank deposits, money order, cash on delivery. These are options that could be made available inside your store. Okay. And here is how you capture it. When you capture payments, just to go over this, you want to make sure you capture the payment, pre-authorize it so that you know that the credit card information is accurate, all is good, and only charge customers when you actually ship the product. You don't want to charge them from the day the order goes through. That's usually how it's done. Now, in case you have very high fraud and you don't want to bother with this, you want to charge them and you know you have all your products in stock and you ship fast, okay, accept the payment, charge it, and then ship it immediately. It depends on how you want to go about it. But typically, we pre-authorize the payment on the credit card. The customer will see it on their credit card, but they actually see the payment go through only when the product ships. So that's just an approach that we usually see. So going in here, so let's say for your case right now, I highly recommend you go with Shopify payments to start, And notice one thing. If you set up yourself with Shopify payments, you immediately accept Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Shop Pay. I believe this is the new Shopify payments like Shop Pay, Apple Pay, as well as Google Pay. So all you know is here, you're not paying any transaction fee. You're only being charged a percentage. Now, this percentage here and the per transaction amount will change as your volume increases. So again, there are different plans inside Shopify, but for now, for you to get started, you simply click on Complete Account Setup, and inside here, they'll ask you a bunch of information. I have, let's say, the warehouse right here, but you would have to put in information about is this individual shop? Are you putting it just under your personal name? That might be the best way to get started, but eventually you may want to make sure that it's registered as a corporation, LLC, depending on how you want to set it up. Speak to your accountant. Then you put in your business number. All this information, your accountant will help you get through it. Your address, first name, last name, date of birth, the product details of what is it that exactly you're thinking about selling. How do you want to show your charge on the credit card of the customer? So it could be usually your brand name, your website name, and the phone number for your customer service. You would add then afterwards all of your banking information and how you would like to be paid, in which currency, US or Canadian. All of this information you'll get from your bank. When all that stuff is said and done, you complete the setup, and then Shopify will notify you if all is well. Now, obviously, sometimes they will ask you to add additional information. Let's say, I want to see if I choose corporation, if it changes. Yeah. So you have the legal business name. I remember them asking for social insurance number, but maybe depends on maybe the second step. All you have to do is go fill out this form, and you should be good to go. If there are any issues, they will let you know, and you will need to provide additional information. It's a lot easier if you're located in Canada and the US, and like Europe, Australia, other countries may be of a challenge. That's why I say, you know what, use the payment method that makes sense in terms of a provider. So you have other providers that you could use. And in certain countries where I know that, for example, there are like in Dubai or some of the Middle East countries, people are still not used to using credit cards, but they're used to this concept of cash on delivery. And there are companies that even could do that for you. So Shopify even has that as a payment method. So again, a lot of options are there for you to follow. When you take care of Shopify payments, move on to PayPal right here. Again, set it up with PayPal. It's going to send you immediately to PayPal right there, complete the process, and then go through the setup step by step. And eventually it will connect back to your website, your online store right here, and everything is set up. Honestly, it all simply requires personal information, banking information, all that stuff. Have it ready for beside you when you're going through this process of setting it all up. But otherwise, it's very, very simple. Those are the options that you need to set up for payment. Any questions before we move on to taxes? I'm gonna check out make sure. All right, I don't see anything, so all is good. Perfect. So when it comes to taxes, same process. You click on settings and you go on the section here called taxes. In one page right here, you have all the options. Now, I'm going to show you Canada and the US, but let's say you did your homework. You know that your accountant told you if you're based in a specific province in Canada, you should be charging X amount of percentage for each of the provinces. And you do the same thing in the US. If you're located in the US, your accountant told you exactly how you should go about collecting and charging taxes on your products. So very simple. I'll start with Canada right here. When you click on setup, you add your tax information. So like in this case right now, let's say I'm located in Quebec, I put in my GST number. Every province has a specific field to choose from and then put in that information. So you need to make sure you register with your local governments, okay? That's one. So you add that information right here. Then comes in, now I remember that Shopify would put in the tax amounts automatically as soon as you select the tax accounts. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, if it's not, then all you need to do is, in this case, I don't think, yeah, I believe so. So as soon as I add a tax location, it's going to put in these values for me. If it doesn't, you can add overrides, obviously, and put in those numbers. And when the numbers are there, I don't remember if you can click on it. That's a problem. I cannot do it right now because I don't want to go through the process. But from this window, you'll be able to modify all of the tax rates for each of the provinces, okay? You can also create any tax overrides if needed for specific categories of products. Let's say you don't want to charge taxes for certain categories or certain places, you name it. All of this information is right here. If you can do the same thing with the US. So in the US, same process. Calculate taxes automatically. Let's say I put in, I know one code, let's say New York. This is where, let's say, I am located. I know this zip code. So immediately, because I am located in New York, in this area, my state tax is 4%, and it puts in all of the county and municipal taxes that I have to consider as well, right in there, okay? So immediately, Shopify will know that you're located in this state. This is how much you should be charging to all of the following counties because you're located in the US, okay? In that state specifically. So you can see all this information is there for you. What's great about this is you don't have to do anything. Again, make sure all these numbers make sense with your tax specialist. But as people start buying from you, the store will start charging people taxes based on the rules that you have configured in here. And then later on, when you need to submit your taxes, you will have access to all sorts of reports. Let me just show analytics, I think. Yeah, reports. And I believe there is a finance summary. Inside finance summary, there's an area for taxes, I believe. See, I won't see it here, but in reporting, you'll have access to all of the tax amounts that you've collected, and you export all of this and give it to your accountant for them to take care of it. So Shopify really made it easy for you to manage all that stuff, so you don't have to go crazy. Again, when you're starting out, you don't go crazy with all the tax planning and everything else. Just make sure that you're charging the right amount of taxes. Your obligations are fully fulfilled within your online store. Run it by your accountant. Make sure all is good and get started. And eventually after, let's say, a couple of months of running the business, before it starts growing, make sure you have your accountant take a look at how you're going about charging customers, how you're going to go about remitting your taxes to the government, if you might have to do it every 3 months, every quarter. Again, every country is different. So I highly recommend that you get this accountant involved with you in the process. Make sure all is set up. I've seen so many cases where people got screwed big time after a couple of years of conducting online business, and they owe back taxes on a lot of sales that occurred on their online store because they didn't take the time. So that's one thing I really want to make sure I emphasize on, is to speak to someone to get some additional advice. And that's it for taxes. Simple stuff. All the sections are inside your settings. Payment providers are right here. Your taxes are here. Technically, you're ready to go. Are there any questions for today's session? Your homework will be to go inside your store and add payment options and set up your taxes. And you do this by going inside units here on the left-hand side, clicking on day 16. And make sure, guys, if you want to keep track of your progress, is when you finish watching a video or when you finish completing a task, to click on the done button right here. So let's say I set up everything. I click on done, and you'll notice that, great, it's been completed. So that when you click on units again, you're able to track your progress of how many days are left, or how many things are left for you to complete in order for you to launch and build your store. And that's it for today. Let me see if you guys have any questions. It's been a quiet. What's up, Hassan, Bilal? Good to see you guys. No, I don't see any questions at this point. It's pretty easy stuff. Again, just requires some planning. Nope, no questions at all. Great. Again, thank you very much for joining. Oh, Hassan's like, oh, don't worry about it being late. It's fine. The fact that you showed up, it's a good thing. So don't worry. All recordings are going to be available for you guys to show up. I don't see any more questions, so I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much again for attending today's session. Remember, Sunday is going to be again at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to talk about tomorrow. I believe it was customer service. So tomorrow, I'm going to talk about some critical things you need to understand for customer service. And I'm also going to show you how to install a live chat option within your online store. A great way to increase trust and confidence with shoppers. Perfect. Thank you very much. Have an amazing rest of the Saturday. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.